I would like to invite our next speaker, the author Akira Kitade from Japan. We saw you briefly on the video. Mr. Kitade, please join us.
Thank you, Mr. Ayuta Miyake, for your kind introduction. Good morning, distinguished audience, and ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me to be given a chance to speak on the occasion of a very significant event sponsored by the Embassy of Japan in Israel, Tikotin Museum, and Israel-Japan Friendship Society. I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to Ambassador Mizushima and all those who are involved in this project for having me in this symposium. How can I proceed? Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't move.
You must still have it. I did wrong.
So to begin with, I would like to make it clear that I'm not a specialist of Sugihara studies, who is said to have saved thousands of Jews. But my primary subject is how these Jewish refugees reached Japan. It all began when I saw this photo album, which used to belong to my former boss, named Tatsuo Osako. It was in 1988. Even today, I cannot forget the excitement I received that day. Mr. Osako was engaged in transporting the refugees from Vladivostok to Tsuruga, a Japanese port city, on an old vessel called Amakusama. It was from latter half of 1940 to former half of 1941. Since I saw this album, the 7 people of the photos occupied a large space in my heart. I was amazed that they would give Mr. Osako photos of themselves, each portrait doubtless a precious possession. Now, I'd like to show you these photos one by one. Each carries a handwritten message on the back. Of the 7, this is the only photo of a man. Her handwritten message is in Norwegian. In this photo, the message was indeed written in Bulgarian, and it said, "From Henny for my memories." The woman left a message in Polish. It includes a date which may read October 2nd, 1940. There's no name signed. This woman's message says, "Remember me" in Polish too. She added, "to the nice Japanese person," showing her gratitude toward Mr. Osako. This message is written neatly in French. This woman is the only one who references the Amakusa Maru by name. 20 years after my encounter with the Osako album, I decided to visit the United States to trace their footsteps. In September 2010, I met these 8 people who were Sugihara survivors, still alive at that time. This is Mrs. Edith Heyman, who was working as a volunteer guide at the Houston Holocaust Museum. She said, "I was only 3 years old when we arrived in the States and remember nothing about those days." This is Mr. Samuel Maskey, who was living in the suburbs of Boston. He said, "I am now suffering from cancer, but I'm not afraid of dying at home. I will be 90 next month. This is the life that was saved by Mr. Sugihara." In June 2011, he passed away. He was survived by his son, Charles, who is the professor at the Northwestern University in Chicago. Professor Charles Maskey was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2015. This is Dr. Sylvia Smoller, who lives in New York now. She's well known in Japan among the researchers of Sugihara visas, for she generously donated her father's passport to the town of Yaotsu, where Mr. Sugihara was from. The replica of smaller passport is exhibited inside Sugihara Memorial Hall in the town of Yaotsu. This is Mr. Benjamin Fishoff, a bank executive in New York. During our interview, he showed me this picture very proudly and said, 5 sons, 28 grandchildren, and well, I don't remember how many great-grandchildren. Sorry. In conclusion, during my visit to the United States, I was not successful in identifying any one of the 7 people in the album. However, at last, this woman was the first to be identified in April 2014. 4 years had already passed since I started to trace their footsteps. She was Zosia Gertler before she fled from Poland and became Sonia Reed after she got married in the United States. She was blessed with 3 children, and furthermore, she was lucky enough to have a chance to come to Japan with her husband in 1979. The woman who had left a message in German was identified as Antonina Altsula in July 2015. After she came to the United States in 1949, she worked as a librarian at the University of California, Los Angeles. In 1994, she closed her life of 75 years in the loneliness, buried in a Christian cemetery for some reason which is not clear. He was identified in September 2015 as Nisim Segarov from Bulgaria. After he came to the United States, he changed his name to Nicholas Sargent. He became a world-famous backgammon player, but there was a rumor that in 1980s he was back in Europe and began to haunt the Palace Hotel in Gstaad in Switzerland as a hustler to earn a daily life. This woman was identified in September 2015 as Vera Harang from Norway. She turned out to be non-Jewish. Because she was not Jewish, she could have been a victim of the Lebensborn program initiated by Nazis after Norway was occupied by Germany in April 1940. But she was lucky because her mother was wisely decided to let her escape from Norway. And she was able to come to Japan, being assisted by Mr. Osako on Amakusama. On arriving at Tsuruga, she went on to Yokohama, where she boarded a Japanese luxury boat called Tatsutamaru. After she arrived in the United States in March 1941, she got married and became Vera Kronberg. She died in 2001 at the age of 84. By the way, it's quite by chance that we found another visa for life issued by another Japanese diplomat. This is a transit visa to Japan issued by Acting Consul General Nei Saburo in Vladivostok on February 28, 1941. It has been known among the researchers that Nei Saburo issued transit visas, but so far nobody has seen an original one. The recipient of the visa was Simon Krentajer from Poland. His daughter, Felicia, 4 years old at that time, is now enjoying a happy life with her big family in California. 2 months after the found of the Nei visa, an unexpected chain reaction occurred. In July 2020, I received a mail from the United States. The sender was Rabbi Aaron Kotler, CEO of a Jewish religious institution in Lakewood, New Jersey. He said, "My mother was also saved by a Japanese diplomat who was not Sugihara nor Nei. His name was Tatekawa Yoshitsu." Tatekawa was the then Japanese ambassador to the Soviet Union. The recipient of the visa was Richel Friedman from Klaipeda, Lithuania. After Richel received the visa on March 8, 1941, she led a very dramatic life, spending some time in Kobe, Japan, and several years in Shanghai, China. After she arrived in the United States in 1947, she devoted her life for the development of this Jewish religious institution in Lakewood. Her son, Rabbi Aaron, told me that if his mother had not been able to obtain a Japanese transit visa from Tatekawa, Lakewood would not have prospered into the present town. Rochelle passed away in 2015 at the age of 29. Oh, sorry. At the age of 92. Ladies and gentlemen, what I have discussed so far is described in my book, Emerging Heroes, World War II era diplomats, Jewish refugees, and escape to Japan. But that was published last July. I would be very happy if you would be interested in reading it. One more thing to add. The Osaka album is now exhibited at the Port of Humanity Tsuruga Museum, and its replica has recently been donated to the Yad Vashem by the Tsuruga city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kitade. Thank you so much.